Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today's shareholder and investor webinar. This webinar will be led by Legion's Chairman and CEO, Jim Byrd. Mr. Byrd will be discussing the company's recent progress, growth, and milestones that have been accomplished, along with the company's vision for the future. If you have any questions during the webinar, please make note and email them to Legion's Investor Relations Department. The questions can be emailed to Jamison Lenzik at JamisonL@legioncapital.com or info@legioncapital.com. At this time, I would like to welcome Legion's Chairman and CEO, Jim Byrd.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you everyone for joining the webinar. Appreciate everyone's interest and involvement in Legion Capital. Legion's a company that I founded along with partner Shane Hackett, who's still our Chief Marketing Officer, back in late 2015 and early 2016. It's a company that we've steadily built and grown over the last few years, and it is essentially what we would call a private equity lender, meaning that we get involved in helping companies and businesses grow through our financing as well as through our efforts, and we typically do that in the form of loans made to companies and businesses, as well as potentially some form of ownership in that project or venture or business. We have a particular focus being based in Orlando, Florida, as we are, and sitting in probably what I believe is the #1 real estate growth market in America, if not the world right now. We have a particular focus on providing financing for real estate development, particularly early stage real estate development in the housing market, as well as medical space and some commercial. And we have a very interesting economic dynamic within the banking industry for early stage real estate development, and particularly banks are just not getting involved in making loans to early stage projects, early stage companies, small businesses, in particular smaller real estate developments. And so there is a void in the economic space that allows somebody like Legion to come in as a specialized lender and provide early stage financing in a variety of areas and industries and really command a great yield. So we have carved out a niche for ourselves, I think, as probably the leader in our home market here in Central Florida, providing early stage financing for real estate development projects all over Central Florida. We're growing that space very rapidly. I think we've probably at least doubled that portfolio within the last 18 months or so, and we look again to continue to grow it exponentially in 2021 and beyond. It is a space that is just rapidly growing. Anyone who follows housing particularly knows that the Orlando, Florida housing market is just absolutely on fire. They literally cannot bring enough houses out of the ground to meet the demand. Orlando is and will always be, in my opinion, one of the fastest growing communities in America, with thousands of people coming in here every month, thousands of new residents literally every week, and there's always going to be demand for new housing. The banks are not going to support that demand with early stage finance. And so Legion has really become a bit of a market leader in terms of providing specialized early stage finance to the housing market, to the growing Orlando or Central Florida housing market. We built that portfolio out, as I said, over the last several years. We have a tremendous demand for our product, for our financing, and we are looking to rapidly grow the company in the coming months and years as we continue to meet that demand. We have a seemingly, at times, endless demand for what we do. So it's a very good position we're in. We're excited about where we are. We're very excited about the specific growth path that we're on, and we think we have a tremendous growth trajectory out over the next year and 2 years and beyond. So very excited about that. We recently, as most of you know, or many know, we recently were able to take the company public on the OTCQX marketplace. We chose the OTCQX because it met our needs as far as where we wanted to be in terms of our growth and our access to public markets. It's the highest level marketplace on the OTC markets, and It allows us to stay very flexible in terms of our financing plans going forward and how we build our business, how we raise capital, but it also provides a world-class marketplace for our shareholders in terms of a public market for potential liquidity, and of course for the company to continue to access public markets and capital markets for future growth. So we were able to get the company public late in the end of last year on the OTCQX. We're in the process now of really just working with the various financial professionals and firms to get the market started and to create what we hope is going to be a great trading market for our stock and great trading market, public market for our shareholders and investors. So very exciting time at Legion Capital, the company that we've worked really hard. We have a phenomenal team here. We have a phenomenal board of directors. We have an amazing group of very hardworking individuals that roll up their sleeves every day and work as hard as they can for the Legion shareholders. So very exciting where we've been able to bring the company over the last 3 or 4 years, and incredibly excited about what the future holds, because we think we're in the exact right place at the exact right time with the type of product that we offer, and we think Legion has great things ahead for it. So that's a basic overview on the company and what we do and kind of where we are right now. I'm sure there are going to be a few questions. I know, Matt, there have been a few questions already provided, so go ahead and let's go into a Q&A, and I'll see if I can address those.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. That is very exciting. But looking back over the last year or so, and despite COVID-19, when you look at 2020 versus the first quarter of 2021, would you say the company's growth targets were met?
Yeah, that's a great question. We obviously, the tragedy that COVID-19 was and is for this country, not only this country, but for the world at large, is really unspeakable. The devastation that this disease has wrought to so many families, so many people, so many lives is just absolutely unfathomable. But certainly it has taken its toll as well on not only business here in America, but on the global economy. I mean, the cost. The lost wealth, the lost value, the lost business opportunity, jobs, businesses that have been shut down, is like nothing I've seen in my life. And I've been through, my age now, I've been through a few recessions and a few pullbacks. Not old enough to have gone through the Great Depression, but this is certainly something that is like nothing I've ever seen in my life as far as the damage that's been done to American business and entrepreneurship. So, to say that we anyone had a great 2020 would certainly not be true. But in terms of Legion Capital, we were very fortunate because we have very solid underlying business. In other words, being in the business of making loans to real estate developers here in Central Florida, particularly, and beyond. We have not seen a tremendous impact on the housing demand. If at all, we haven't seen the impact. Now, we of course did see a period of months and months where people did not have closings, real estate closings, and so forth. People stayed in their homes, and certainly that probably slowed our growth in 2020 from where we probably felt it would be. But as far as the long-term effect on the company, 2020 really had no impact. In fact, I hate to say that we benefited from something that's so horrible, but if anything, we've seen, of course, an influx of people from the Northeast moving into Florida. And so if anything, the long-term impact on Legion Capital from the COVID pandemic will have probably been positive from a financial or business standpoint. So yeah, I don't see that as having impact. It's hard to say exactly, what our final numbers would have been in 2020 without the pandemic. We were certainly on a tremendous growth trajectory. I think we're going to still have ended the year, pretty well. But, we'll know when the final numbers come out here before too long. But we certainly weathered the storm. Our business did not fail. We met all of our obligations, and we continued to make loans. And now, as we exit the pandemic, we're seeing tremendous growth on the other side of it, and tremendous demand for our products. So I would say that we maybe didn't meet all of our hopes and dreams for 2020, but we certainly were able to weather the storm, continue pushing forward, and put ourselves in a fantastic position for 2021 and beyond.
Great, thanks. That's very fortunate. So you spoke globally about Legion's vision for the future. Where would you like to see the company as 2021 comes to a close?
Yeah, great question. So, and that's very simple. So this business that we're in is I like to call it linear, because it's not very complicated to understand. I mean, as our loan portfolio grows, our business grows. And we're in the business, as I said, and we call ourselves a private equity lender, but essentially we're a specialized lender. We raise capital from either investors or from lenders or from the public markets, and then we loan that capital out, and we try to create a yield and a profit on those monies that we deploy. So our current portfolio, we're hoping to be able to grow that this year. I don't really want to speak about specific growth projections, because that wouldn't be appropriate, being that we're now publicly traded. Obviously, those need to be disseminated publicly versus on just a webinar. But we're hoping to greatly increase the size of our loan portfolio this year. And as our loan portfolio increases, our revenues increase, and our profitability increases and is enhanced. So it's really simple. The vision for 2021 is to continue to accelerate the growth of our loan portfolio, our loan footprint. Continue to go deeper into the areas we're in, because the demand, like I said, for housing finance, for commercial finance here in Central Florida and Florida is not slowing down. If anything, it's accelerating. So we want to be able to meet that demand and to grow our portfolio along the way. And so that's certainly our immediate plans. We have the demand. We're in the process of continuing to raise the capital to meet that demand. And as we grow, then our company will continue to grow and prosper.
Great, thanks. Some recent communications have expressed a desire for some technology enhancement goals in 2021, specifically Legion Direct. Could you go into a little detail or elaborate on that?
Sure. So, we consider ourselves to be a fintech driven or a fintech-enabled firm, meaning financial technology, of course. And what I mean by that is that clearly the world has changed in terms of corporate finance over the last 10 years, 20 years. More things are digitized now. People are learning about investments, or learning about finance opportunities, investing opportunities. Online and through automated systems versus going through the old going through their stockbrokers or financial advisors. So one of the things we did as we first launched Legion Capital back in 2016 was we wanted to provide an opportunity for every investor out there to participate in the private equity space, to participate in the types of investments like real estate lending, real estate equities that typically were not available to the average investor because they were pretty much done through large private equity firms or Wall Street banks, et cetera. So we we wanted to be able to bring those types of investments to every investor. And one of the ways we did that was we created a digital platform called Legion Direct. We've made most of our initial, or the majority of our initial offerings have gone through Legion Direct. We've built quite a significant following of Legion Direct investors, and we've been able to raise capital by offering a variety of types of investments online in an automated manner through a platform to investors. And so we've recently, because the demand, because we see the world at large, of course, continuing to change, and people are doing everything online nowadays, and everything in a digitized manner. We recently decided to launch a 2.0 version of that platform, which is underway right now and which I do believe will be launched for too long. And what that's going to do is basically allow investors from everywhere to learn more about Legion Capital, to access our offerings, to review documents, download documents, invest directly with us, and also, of course, to be able to access all their information and accounts information and so forth online directly with us. And we see that as creating an opportunity for, like I said, every investor who normally would not have access to the types of offerings that we're able to make to invest directly with a company like ours and hopefully grow as we grow.
Sounds like it'll be a very user-friendly experience, which is always positive. Lastly, I think the question or topic that everyone has on their mind is Legion's public listing. Can you talk a little bit more about that and maybe what the future hopes are for it?
Sure. Well, as we mentioned, we were able to bring in a fair amount of capital early on from shareholders who wanted to be a part of a company that ultimately was going to be able to go public. And that was always our plan. We spent several years looking at the best options, certainly making sure that we were able to do things at the right time. And we were, able to meet those plans and meet those objectives here in late 2020 by getting the company publicly listed. As I said, we did have some options available to us. We explored NASDAQ listing. We explored a New York Stock Exchange listing. But what we believed suited us in the end for not only for our cost, but for the types of capital formation plans that we had and our ability to be flexible in how we grow the business and raise capital, and also to be more cost effective. We believe the best place for us was the OTCQX, which, as I said, is the highest, what they call the best market, is the highest level of OTC markets. It really is the OTC markets equivalent of the smaller cap NASDAQ exchange. They have all very similar corporate governance and financial requirements to trade there. You have to be audited. You have to have independent directors. A lot of the similar corporate governance requirements that a NASDAQ small cap exchange would have, but the cost of being on the OTCQX and the corporate burden is much less. So we felt it was a great place for us, given all the factors that we took into consideration. And so we listed. Our symbol, of course, most people know, is LGCP. We literally just started trading recently. There's not a lot of trading in the stock yet. It takes a while to build a market. We are in the process of working with numerous professional financials and firms to help bring in corporate visibility to our stock, to our company, to the market. And we look forward over the coming months to building what we hope will be a strong and liquid market for our shareholders, because that is certainly the goal. So job one job one was completed, which was to get the company, public and get it listed. Job two is to now grow the business, grow the revenues, grow the profits, grow the earnings of the company, and tell that story to the public markets at large so that we can hopefully grow the shareholder base and create a strong and liquid market for our shareholders. That is certainly something that is of the highest priority for us as we go forward in the coming months. And that is where our focus is in terms of our corporate strategy and our corporate public market strategy. So next steps is to help build the market, bring in and then use that market as well, not only to create liquidity to the extent it's desired for our early stage shareholders, but also to access public markets going forward so that we can raise larger pools of capital so that we can, of course, deploy that capital and continue to build the business. So again, it's a fairly simple model. Get a strong liquid stock, raise more capital at higher valuations, and continue to grow the business, which of course creates more earnings.
Thanks, Jim. As always, very exciting news. That was very informative. It paints a clear picture of what the company would like to do and its initiatives. These are exciting times for Legion and its investors, and we look forward to future updates and news from the company. As mentioned before, if there are any questions or comments, please reach out to Jameson Lenzik, Legion's Investor Relations Manager. His email address is jamesonl@legioncapital.com, or you can also email info@legioncapital.com. Thank you very much for attending, and we look forward to having you on the next session.
Thank you.